For its exemplary work done in the past 30 years, the Institute has received appreciation from top-notch academicians and organizations of wide repute. To name a few, Times B School Survey 2020 ranked IMS as the #1 private BBA institution in Uttar Pradesh and Uttarakhand. Also, it is ranked as the best BBA and BCA institution in North India by Asia Pacific 2020 Education Leadership Awards and ranked 9th all over India by Times B School Survey 2020.
Well, we would not be here if not for the constant efforts of our leader, Director Dr. Sapna Rakesh. Ma'am has been in management education since ages. As an accomplished educationist and researcher, she has turned around campuses and has given new dimensions to management education. She has been bestowed with Rashtriya Shiksha Gaurav Puruskar and has been published multiple times in journals of wide repute. If I may say so, ma'am is the reason why we describe the institute as our second home. It is her presence that makes it feel less like a college and more like a family. Now, I would like to request Dr. Sapna Rakesh ma'am to kindly welcome the gathering and enlighten us with your inspiring words. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Kapil. I have been looking to this opportunity for a long time, requesting Mr. Lokesh Saxena to visit our campus for, I believe, now 5 years. In that light, I think pandemic is an opportunity to us because when everything shifted online the other day, I requested him that now it's possible for you because you really do not have to come physically, fly down from Bangalore to Delhi and then from Delhi airport to IMS Ghaziabad and address our students. And I think there are so many rays of hope coming from the change that we are seeing. Each of us is learning new things every day. But torchbearers play a very important role in learning. And in that light, I welcome you, Lokeshji, to the session today. Thank you so much for making it. We understand that pandemic or no pandemic, people at work really do not have time. It is your earnestness to help, budding managers and professionals around which has brought you here. Let me tell you, friends, on a personal note, I seek a lot of guidance from a couple of people in industry, and Mr. Saxena is one of them. And it was very, you would be happy to know, which you would be, of course, what you would have been told later. But let me also share with you, he's also in our advisory board who advises us on what we should do and what we should not. As a matter of fact, we are lucky to have a lot of such people who are torchbearers in industry for supporting us, guiding us. And today we have an opportunity to bring you in front of the students. And I'm sure that the next 60 minutes that we have will be very exciting and enriching for each of us on the screen and at YouTube. So once again, I welcome you all and I welcome you, Lokesh sir, especially, and thank you for making it for us. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. It's always a pleasure hearing you.
Now, as we are taking a step ahead in our day-to-day life, the external environment seems to be very challenging and dynamic. Preparing for future became an intuitive ingredient for a firm's long-term success. Firms that are not prepared for change run into the risk of not being able to adapt to changes quickly enough to survive. This might be the reason why businesses today often prepare for future simply by improving the efficiency of their current processes and imagining what processes will be required to address future changes.
Well, these are only small insights from the plethora of information that we are going to get today in this talk session. And to share those great insights, we have with us our honorable guest, Mr. Lokesh Saxena, sir, Managing Director, Disa India Limited. Sir is in industry from past 25 years and possesses the experience of working with large multinational organizations from Europe. Alongside his journey, Sir has provided long-term value to the organizations in terms of increased top line and the bottom line, and also enhancing the market value for the company. Skills like strong conviction and hands-on approach has helped him to build, facilitate, and align both long-term and short-term objectives of the organization. Moreover, people development and succession planning has helped him to build high-performing teams and create a positive working climate in the organization. He is an experienced professional for automotive, industrial markets, and capital goods industry in OEM, aftermarket, and services, business stream through direct and distribution channels. And Sir is currently leading Disa India Limited as managing director, a Danish MNC of Noricon Group in India. The long list of achievements of Mr. Lokesh Saxena sir is never going to end. And I think it's the time that we should stop ourselves here, as we just can't afford to waste even a single minute to hear such an amazing personality who has spared his valuable time to share amongst us the insightful information which is going to be very useful for us as management students. Now, I would like to request Mr. Lokesh Saxena sir to kindly take over the screen and so that we can fill up our bucket with his heap of information. We welcome you, sir. Stage is all yours.
Kapil, thank you, Mansi, and thank you, Dr. Sapna. One thing which Dr. Sapna has not mentioned, I don't know why, is that we are coming from the same institute. I used to be a year senior to Dr. Sapna in Gwalior, and so that's the genesis of the relationship what we have been carrying over the past more than 25 years. And as you already have said that you are lucky to have her there in the institution, and I have seen her working tirelessly, and I have seen her turning around institutions. So it's a great opportunity for me also to come to IMS Ghaziabad and talk about some of the most relevant topics as it exists today. So thank you very much. Formally, IMS Ghaziabad, and thank you, Dr. Sapna, for inviting me for this session. We always feel that industry people are very, very busy. I can tell you they are not. Right? And it's only a matter of time or a chance why I have not been able to, address or come to the institution. It's not that I don't want to come, but it's only about what is the right time to come. And I think this is the right time to be here. What I'm going to do today is to discuss on a subject which is relevant, but not from the organization's perspective. What you will be interested more in is to understand what is the external environment and what is happening when it comes to the pandemic environment. And I'll not dwell too much on pandemic because all of you and all of us have the same information at our command. But how is it impacting the business? How people are doing business in pandemic environment? And I always believe that all the challenges have a lot of opportunities. So we are going to be more positive in our discussion today to understand what are the opportunities which exist as a part of pandemic environment for organizations and institutions. What are the various industry segments in which this pandemic has impacted, and what are the employment impacts as a part of that pandemic? Some prospective segments and roles for future which you as budding professionals can look at. If at all you want to go and do a job, but more happy if you want to go and do some of your own work and create more entrepreneurial environment in the country. Coupled with that external environment, it's always important that how do we make ourselves ready in the challenging environment? Because when we go out in the marketplace to find a job or to look for a business opportunity, we should be ready about that. And why we should be ready, I mean, that's more important than the readiness itself. And then I'm going to leave the forum open for any Q&A. I don't want to make it a monologue. I will be very happy because I feel that if I seek questions, if I hear questions from you, and if we are able to discuss something, the learning goes both ways. And I am a staunch believer that it's not that some CEO or some MD of a company will know more than any one of you. right? So it's like a both ways we have to communicate in this discussion today. So if all is said, then I'll just go forward. So what's happening on the external environment? And here is our four basic indicators in which most of the business leaders they look at. What are the GDP projections? What are the manufacturing PMIs? What are the inflation rates in the country? And how is the index of industrial production moving? So all the possible organizations who forecast on the GDP, they have said that we are going to go double digit. These double digit environments can turn into 9%, 10%, 8%, 8.5%, does not matter much. But India is set to grow. So that's one positive aspect. Second indicator is on the PMI, which is about the Purchase Managers Index, which talks about the activity in the industry. Anything beyond 50 is expansion, and anything below 50 is a contraction. So the projections are that the industry is going to expand. Inflation rates could be here and there in 1 month or the 2 months, but overall average inflation rates are going to be 5.5%. And index of industrial production, which is nothing but the growth which we expect in a typical core industry, which are there 8 industries. So if we see all these 4 parameters, everything is pointing towards having a positive environment in the industry, and that's very important for you to understand that when you come out after 1 year or 2 years or 3 years, it's going to be very important that you are in an environment which is a growth environment for the country. So I'm very positive about the entire growth for the country as a whole. I think you all know where we are standing as of now, but I strongly believe that we'll not be like this forever. What the current situation on the pandemic has really done is that almost the entire country is on a lockdown. Not a formal lockdown by the central organization, but most of the states. So where I am sitting in Karnataka, or my workplace environments on North India or Western India, almost everything is locked down. And what this lockdown does is actually disrupt the whole process of supply chain. So if I am open and my supplier sitting in Pune is not open, then I cannot produce. So the disruption is of a very high order in the last 1.5 to 2 months. Hopefully this will be over soon. I think Dr. Rakesh was talking about vaccination. I think we all need to run towards vaccination, and that's the only thing which is going to save us as we go forward to fight this pandemic. Medical emergencies have been at the highest level. I mean, you all know that what has happened in the last 2-3 months, but lots of actions have been happening from the industry side, from the government side, to address these situations. So pandemic, yes, it's a reality of our life, but it's not going to last forever, and we are going to come out of it very strongly. What really these pandemics have done, in a shorter term environment, that most of the automotive companies are in a shutdown mode, and this is a decision and an action which they have taken on a suo motu basis. Government has not said that, but they are themselves more worried about how they handle situations if it arises in a plant of a size where 3,000 or 5,000 people are entering. So there's a lot of movement restrictions across India. You have to go for a lot of independent tests to move from state 1 to state 2, and like that. What it has done is that the commodity prices, and when I'm saying commodity is about steel, which is one of the basic commodity for development nations or a developing nation, is the prices have gone up very high, and that is impacting the business quite a lot. So steel price, if it was 100 at some point of time, in the last 4 to 5 months, it has gone to 160. And that gives a challenge on cost management for most of the companies. Apart from that, you also know that there's been a lot of manpower migration, or the people migration from locations, which has created a lot of labor shortage across the industry. If you go to a local labor, then your cost of doing business is much higher. So that's a reality, which is again a negative impact for the business. And ultimately, all of this put together really impact production. And with a capital intensive environment in factories where you have a lot of investments, if you don't produce, then still you are spending money every day. So the production reduction really impacts the financials of the companies. In many cases, there has been a reduced employment opportunity, and I have said it's in short-term basis because if the pandemic will not last long, then I think the employment opportunities also will come back, if not very early, but ultimately it will come back. So at the same time, this pandemic environment and the current and external environment has given opportunity for organizations to look at lots of things. And the first and foremost and the most important thing is that there has been a high level of people engagement in organizations. Because all the organizations have realized that it's the people who do business, it's not the products which does business. And to keep people safe, to be in the right spirits, to keep them motivated, a lot of organizations have created initiatives around on people engagement. The new business models have been invented. In my company, we have done kind of a remote installation commissioning. We make capital equipments for foundry industry. And it was like unheard of that we will do a remote installation of some of the equipment, which we have done in the last 1.5 years. So that has given, possible means to new service models in the industry. Hybrid model on work from home and office, I think this has been practiced by most of the organizations now. And I was reading some leading companies yesterday talking about extending work from home till September because they want the people to be safe. And this is an opportunity for both safety for the people as well as on the cost. So if I used a space which had 100 workstations, today I'm using a space which is about 60 workstations, and the balance people are working from home. One very important aspect which I have learned as a part of this pandemic is that we used to take a lot of time to reach the highest level in a customer organization. Now it is at the click of a button. So the top people are very, very eager to come on social media, social platforms, and talk to us. And we have been using this opportunity to engage with the customers in a big way. So social media and the business platforms, when we are able to engage with the customers in a much personalized way, and that's one opportunity which we have seen. Online learning has become the name of the game. In fact, I was doing a program with one of the US institutions, and I was supposed to go there, and I could not do that, and I did it on an online basis for a 3 weeks program, and I can tell you there was hardly any difference. So online is something which is coming in a big way in the learning part of the business. There's been a significant reduction in the travels, and that gives lesser fatigue to the people. Meetings have been very, very efficient, and I think it has given a lot of thinking time to the people to plan for future. Last but not the least, I would say we have learned to live in few, and we have been experiencing, and all of you must be experiencing in your homes, that we don't have access to everything what we wanted. So we are finding innovative ways to manage that, whether it is our food, whether it is the way we are doing health, initiatives, whether we are doing online gymming or what not. There are a lot of things which are being done as an individual now and in different homes. And it's also redefining the way we look at hygiene. I think we were very casual about hygiene at some point of time, whichever part of the country we were sitting in. So hygiene is some area which has got a lot of attention from all of us, and that's a positive impact. On the business side, there's a lot of activity which is going on localization of parts, because the movement of goods across the whole world has been restricted. So people are trying to find, and organizations are trying to find their own ways and means to say that can we localize some of these component parts which we are importing from outside countries. So this is in a way kind of a negative and a positive. And if you see the list, I have given more positive impacts than the negative impact, because I feel that this is a very short-term process in which we have negativity, but ultimately it's going to be a very positive environment for us. Now, in the possible external environment, there are areas in which we have to look at very seriously. And this is a slide which has been produced about a year back, and I don't see any difference even when I speak to you today. So there are segments of industry which have got impacted ultimately, and you can see the various level of impact in the industry in which we are operating. So the first 4-5 industries like construction, manufacturing, retail, freights and logistics, these are the industries which have been hit very, very hard when it comes to pandemic environment. But at the same time, there are industries who have come up very well. like education, healthcare, and others. Some of the professional services, like counseling services, is one of the areas in which there's a lot of work which people are doing now. But telecom, the need for home internets, the need for IT services, the need for power. So all these things are still in a positive zone. So industries have got impacted. Organizations have reduced their activities. There has been a potential job impact on the environment, but it depends on which industry you are operating on. We got impacted as a part of the manufacturing, so we reduced our overall financial year turnover by 20%, and of course, with the reduction of top line, you also reduce the bottom line. So those kind of things are happening in the industry, but these are again temporary phenomena. So it's important for us to understand that as we go forward, and for you it's very important, is what level of industry you should be looking at when you are seeking your employment outside, when you go after some time. So I've tried to use a very simple method of traffic lights of green, amber, and red. And there will be high demand segments, which will be coming from the digitization and analytics, whether it is artificial intelligence areas or it is machine learning programs. Online education will be one of the high demand segments, and the job opportunities in this segment will be high. As I said, IT services and networking has been one of the core industry which has been operating in a very strong environment right from the start of the pandemic. It will continue to grow. Data centers get added because a lot of people are now looking at data center and the cloud computing services. Fourth important aspect is the e-commerce, which is online. I think most of us are using online for our day-to-day survival, whether it is food online, whether it is your goods you want to buy, whether you want to buy your white goods or whatever you want to do. I think everything is available online. So these are things, and healthcare and hospital industries which will see a high demand for the employment over the next 2 to 3 years. Even now we can see that. Then another classification on the industries is about demand segments, which is going to seek a good demand. So I have said 3 stars to this, maybe 5 stars for the green ones, but 3 stars for this, which is the industries operating in the infrastructure segment. So despite all reduction which is happening across any of the businesses, the government spending has not gone down. And the government spending is happening primarily on the railways, defense, energy area, roads and bridge construction. So all that construction activity, infrastructure development is going to see a good demand in the segment. Insurance and health covers, I think these companies have been very busy in the last 1.5 years to cover for insurances. People have just realized that they need to have personal insurance instead of having only official insurance from company or the institutions. Financial services, where wealth management comes as a big way, this is going to be in good demand. And of course, telecom products and services, whether it is data cards or any such connectivity or fiber optic cables and whatever it is. So these are going to be some of the good demand segment. Third important is what is going to be the low demand segment. And please don't hold me responsible for making a statement which may be not so true, maybe 1.5 years or 2 years from now, but I still see that automotive, tourism, travel, timeshare holidays, hotels and retails is going to be really challenging. I think the worst hit in this entire environment is the retail, because it depends on footfalls, and we all have our foot in the home. We cannot go out in the marketplace. We can't enter shops. We will not go. There's no social distancing we can maintain if you enter a mall. So these are some of the segments which is going to be really hit, and they will take the last opportunity to come back. So when you're looking at employment perspective, or even from the business perspective, these are some of the areas, these are some of the segments which you should look at. And this is only my thought process. I do not have a very strong data to tell you why I'm thinking like this, but this is my gut feel that this is how the traffic lights are going to be on the segments. Now, if these are the segments of industries, what are the possible roles which will be interesting for you? So, like always, we always say that sales and marketing will be available job opportunity in all the industry segment. That's going to remain. So people who are in sales and marketing will have slightly less to worry about if they want to go out and do a job. Risk analysis, I think this has come out very well, and this is more on the financial side, the financial risk and the business risk, because every organization is now looking at to analyze what are the risks in which we are operating, and risk ultimately transform into finance, and what is the impact to the industry, what is the impact to the company. So risk is something analyst is going to be one of the sought after jobs. Project management, kind of a consistent roles over many years, and they are going to remain, and you can have a look at these kind of roles. In IT, if you are in IT industry, if you want to join an IT industry, you should be very apt in understanding networking, cloud computing, programming, and cyber security. I think cyber security is one area in which there's lots and lots of things happening. Recently also, government is also trying to frame some different kind of a rule so that they can bring all the independent players in this industry to certain to abide by the law and all that. Cybersecurity is one area which you should be looking at. On the digital side, analytics and marketing and data centers, I think these are going to be the name of the game. So again, on the digital area, if you are looking at, then analytics and marketing is going to be one of the key, and of course the data centers. And last but not the least, I think the social media marketing and targeted selling. I think so. If you are looking at most of these roles for your future employment, look at some kind of a specialization around these areas, because when you come to the industry, they will ask you, what is it that you do? If you say, I'm from IT, I've done my BBA in IT, or whatever course you run, then they'll say, do you know cloud computing? Do you understand programming? Do you understand cybersecurity? So if you have an opportunity for specialization, look at some of these areas of your education. Now, it is not about only what you acquire as a technical knowledge. That's important for you to be ready. I think there are some areas in which you have to be really working hard and prepare yourself when you come out in the marketplace. And I'm not saying that these are only the 4 or 5 areas in which you should be, but these are important areas which you should look at when you come out in the marketplace to understand this. So digital skills is one of the skills which all the organization across all the industries will be looking at, which is about ability to work virtually, ability to understand social media and the use of social media, understanding of the corporate IT and the software environment. So these are some of the digital skills which irrespective of which industry you'll be required to know. Agile thinking, which is like thinking in an innovative way. Managing paradoxes means balancing opposite views, ability to see the big picture. So these are some of the areas in which organization will test your skills when you come out in the marketplace. Interpersonal and communication. Now see, we are 300 plus people, and I think many more on the YouTube. When did we realize that we can have a meeting like this and we have a presentation like this? So you are sitting away, thousands of kilometers away, but you are still interacting. So it's going to be a new way of communication. So interpersonal skill is not about holding somebody, holding or patting at the back and say that, no, let's go and do the work. That's not going to be possible. So you have to find innovative ways and means from communication. So that is going to be some of the important areas you should look at. And of course, global operating. So today, somebody gets a job without getting interviewed physically, without meeting the person, without having any interaction, and the onboarding happens, and the people are doing the job. So, and any company sitting in New Zealand can hire you. People sitting in US can hire you, sitting in Ghaziabad or Meerut or Muzaffarnagar or wherever you are. So these are the areas in which you should look at, your readiness, and map yourself in these skills and say where you are today and where you want to go, right? But these are not the only skills. There are other things also which need to be looked at. And why I'm so much forceful on this area of readiness for future, because of a very, very clear research which has been conducted by Oxford Economics, although it's almost like a 10 years old research, but it is very, very valid for 2021 and beyond. And they did this research in 2011. So they said that what's going to be the demand and talent supply in 2021. And as you can see in this entire slide, on the left-hand side, it's talking about a strong trend in demand and the talent availability. On the right-hand side, they are talking of trend and talent deficit, which means that you will be sitting in a country, if at all you want to be here and you want to work in India, you will be sitting in a country which will have a huge talent surplus, which means that you have to be your best to seek a job. You have to be best at your readiness to compete with your fellow colleagues. So if you're not prepared well, how will you compete? If you're not prepared well, how will you be able to get a job or do a business? So this is the reason why I'm saying that readiness is very important for you, because we are not in a deficit talent environment. We are in a surplus talent environment. And all of us are good in our own ways, but I think we have to be slightly a shade better than others to qualify or get an opportunity or a job. So these are some of the things which I wanted to discuss with you. And my last slide is on some things which I have learned over the last many years of my working with different kinds of organizations. And then I'll open the session for any kind of questions you have. But these are my personal note on readiness. When do I say that I'm ready? Or where do I keep working to make myself ready every time? Ability to adapt to changing environments. And then this is not my statement. This is a statement of Charles Darwin. If you have read him, that the most adaptable survives, the most strong don't survive. So adaptability is going to be the name of the game. This adaptability could be anything. It could be culture, it could be location, it could be jobs, it could be field of interest, it could be anything. But adaptability is something which will take you a long way. Many of us, don't understand, and I can tell you the best of the people in the industry, most of the time they talk more about what is it that they're doing rather than focusing on what it is meaning to the organization, which means your readiness will be full if you are focused on outcomes more than activities. I have studied, right? I have met 20 customers, but I have not been able to sell even a single product to any one of them. So for us, activities are not so important, outcomes are more important. So please understand that that's very important for all of you to to internalize in a way. When you come out in the industry environment, you will see a lot of people with a lot of experience. I mean, like I'm talking like 25 years of experience, this, that, and all that, And many times people feel that if they have experience, they are right on everything. I can tell you they're not. And don't assume that they're right for everything. So don't hesitate to experiment. Challenge the status quo. But at the same time, respect the experience as well. So there is a way to challenge. So try to learn this art of challenging, but always experiment on new things. And that's what you should do. Teamwork is going to be the demand of the hour, demand of the game. So you have to have teamwork. You cannot be a loner. You have to work across the team, because I'll tell you, as you grow higher up in the organization, the only thing which you are doing is convincing people on your agenda, which is helpful. And you convince people if you cannot talk to them, if you cannot. Second last is own your actions and thereby results. I think many people say that, or many people I have seen in the industry, they say that good things are to me, but bad things are to my team. And it should be the other way around. It should be the other way around, that I should own my actions, and I should give a lot of respect to my team because they've experimented and failed, and so it's okay, doesn't matter. But opposite in most of the cases. So own your actions and also the result, but also give the credit to your people, to your team, rather than taking all the credits and getting laurels out of it, which ultimately don't last much. the last and the most important is that in the current setup of organizations, loyalty has no value. And I'm making a big statement here because many industry leaders may not agree with me on this. But I think that if you are not able to produce results as a part of your job or wherever you are sitting, then people don't like you. So you have to give results because you are there to give results. And if you are not able to give results, then somebody else should come and do that. So, and it's not about I've worked in this organization for 20 years or 10 years or 15 years. You're not sellable then. I mean, you have lost the game. So at the end of it, you have to produce results, and loyalty has a value, but it does not have so much of values, so to say, when it comes to the current or the future business environment. So these are some of the aspects which I thought I'll share with you all. And now I am pretty open for any kind of discussions or anything which you are not liked about it, which you want to have a different opinion on, or you want to have a suggestion to me. I'm very open, and it's always good to hear the young minds. And I keep interacting with the education system, so I do visit some universities and some other institutions to keep myself engaged with the students, and I'm seeing this opportunity today as well. So the house is now open, Dr. Sapna or Mansi or
Sir, there are questions on the chat box. So how would you like to take it? Should we ask the students to ask the questions, or would you like to take them from the chat?
Then I have to stop.
Yeah, there are a lot of questions in the chat box. We can, like the first question goes, to what extent your inner strength and hope towards your business affect the strategy formulation of your future business? So that's a philosophical question. I maybe we get to hear from you.
No, it's a very practical question. So I was talking to somebody who is in the food delivery industry, and the gentleman was saying that my strategy is only for one day because I don't know how many new apps will be formed in next morning. So your strategy is as good as your market response, right? So if I'm Food Panda and I have 20 new apps which come up, then my strategy has to be different the next day. Okay, so I think inner strength and hope towards the business affect the strategy formulation. Yes, it does, but your strategy is as good as the environment externally. So you have to keep changing the strategy. At one point of time, Steel Authority used to make a business plan for 30 years. Can you believe? Can anyone of you believe that? 30 years business plan. Now, no organization does more than 2 years or 1 year. I mean, some people have come down to 6 months. So that's where it is.
So if we
another
see
question is on. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, this question on HR, and I think because you've been handling teams around globally. If you could throw some light on how this pandemic affected the profit and HR strategies of present and future business. I think students want to know what is happening to the human resources and what would happen to the human resources.
I think human resources, as I said in my presentation, they'll always be at the core of all the organizations. At least organizations I know and all the big names in the industry, they all are very, very focused on human resources. First is on the safety aspects, and second is on the development aspect. And despite all of what is happening, I think human resources have been at the core of activities for most of the companies, and is always going to remain. When it comes to HR strategy, I would say so a lot of work which our company has done is to make people safe, providing them some kind of a helpline services when it comes to mental health, taking care of the employees who have been affected, getting them to hospitals or arranging some kind of doctors and other things. So these are more or less in the current environment. But I think HR strategies are going to revolve around welfare more than ever, and that's what some of the organizations have come out with a strategy that if we see anybody unfortunately dying out of COVID, we'll continue to pay the salary till the end of the retirement age of the employee. So a lot of companies are doing a lot of these things, and it's going to remain. I think on the profit side, it's directly proportional to what you do on the top line and how you manage your cost. So profit is all about your external sales minus your cost. That makes you profit, right? If you're able to address cost, which is very, very difficult in current situation, you have to see that how you can draw more from the marketplace. We have got impacted on the profit side, but we are coming back, because there's something which is not in our hands. So profits have been affected, but at the same time, there are industries who are making much more profit than they were making. So like you see the results coming out of some of these quarter end or the year end results of some of the banks. They have done great business. I do not know where they have made the money from, but they're doing good business. And manufacturing companies are having a trouble because they are more capital intensive. And if you don't produce within that environment, then you are impacting the profits ultimately. So this is about these questions. Hopefully, I have answered to Shruti, I think.
Yeah, to Shruti. Ujjwal, would you like to read your own question? Because that looks a very interesting question with respect to Lokeshji's experience of also speaking on Vibrant India platform 2-3 years back. He was on Vibrant India platform in Gujarat. Ujjwal, you there?
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, good
Yeah,
morning.
please. Yes.
Sir, good morning. So, in the first pandemic, the term which totally emerged, that is self-reliant. The total Modi government is totally focused on self-reliant India. And what after self-reliant, we're also talking about go for local for vocal for local. So, will the concept of self-reliant India helps or play a vital role for Indian industry in future preparedness, or will the every perspective of the policy of foreign relation of a different government is different from one another? So will it would create challenges or threats for concept of self-reliant India in the term of political instability? So my question is that.
Okay, so your question has two, three questions within, actually.
Yes, sir.
So the first question is that will the concept of self-reliant India play a vital role in future preparedness? I would say we don't have an option. We have to be self-reliant, and we should have been self-reliant long back. Maybe we went on that path, but not so successfully. So we have to be self-reliant. There's no question about it. Rather than, I'll expand that to another statement, that rather than being only self-reliant, we should be the shop to the world. We should be focusing lots on exports. Look at the way China has grown as an economy. 60% of their business is exports. So we have got a good domestic consumption market, which needs to be catered to, and we also can be the shop for the world. And that's where I'm saying that self-reliance is definitely, there is no option to that. We should be self-reliant. And whether we do it in whatever slogan format, I don't want to get into the political environment in this discussion. But it could be anything. But I think self-reliance is the way forward, and not keep on exporting so many of our products and services. But to reach there, we have a long way to go. It's about commitments, reduction in the casual approach, the way we work across the global environment. I think all those things need to be, worked out very well before we really are sought after by the world. That yes, here's a place where I want to go and buy, and we are very bad in this at this moment. So we have to move in this direction for sure. When it comes to foreign policies, I think most of the if you see the development happening in the European nations, most of the nations are trying to do everything themselves, but that will not succeed ultimately, because the world is so integrated, so to say. It is not possible for small countries or small unions to say that we will not do anything other than what we do ourselves. It's not possible for them. For a country like us, yes, it's possible. But yes, there is a production environment in which most of the countries are trying to operate now. It may be a short-term phenomena, but long-term, there is no option but to be global. So hopefully I've answered your question, sure.
Yeah, so that's very aptly answered. And I'm seeing a very interesting question which I'd like to take first. This is from Sheel Shukla. So Sheel, if you are there, or shall I read the question?
Yes, ma'am, definitely, I'm here. Good morning, sir. Am I audible?
Yes, Sheel, go ahead.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
So my question is, you have told about the adaptability of new changes. We can adapt the new changes, and skill set is very important, I understand. But what we can say about the personal touch we are losing in any industry, even if we get hired globally, there'll be certain limitations with this. So if you can highlight that, that would be great.
So organizations don't have solutions for everything. They may think that they have solutions for everything, but they don't have. But what organizations definitely do is to experiment. And when it comes to experimentation, it's about how do we engage, people so that they feel almost like working in an office environment, or working in an environment which is not so impersonal. So there are a lot of programs which organizations have been running. Some people have got an engagement plan with yoga. Some people are engaging with kind of common activities. Why go to organizations? I have known schools who are running music competition on online basis, right? So there are these are evolving things which are happening in the industry, and as a country as a whole, and I think global as a whole, that there are new ways of engagement which is being thought of, and a lot of organizations are trying to do this. What you're saying is absolutely right, that the personal touch definitely will be missed, but I don't think it's permanent. It's not going to be forever. It's only for the time till we vaccinate, or till we are coming out of this pandemic environment. And that's the reason I said in my presentation, let us not be very, very focused, or let us not get bogged down by what's happening now. Think 1 or 2 years, 3 years from now, and things will be as normal as you can see. Currently, yes, there is a challenge on engagement, and organizations are trying to find some of the ways and means to, I mean, your own institution is doing it, right? We are 350 people sitting on a call, trying to engage. I mean, there's a wonderful way of engaging with the industry or academy or whatever you say. So it's a challenge. Currently, it's a challenge, but it will not remain forever, for sure.
Yeah, that's looking at the future. I think there are some students who are looking at starting their own firms in the startup arena. And there's a question which I'd like to take. And Ujjwal is asking you, sir, what could be your suggestion for startups in the sense of facing external environments and future preparedness, which I think is the today's context, where 99% of startups fail within an year, which is about 365 days. That's it. That's and you've lived your dream. So what would be your take on that, sir? How do you motivate these guys who are bogged down with the failure stories?
I think you should read the journey of people who fall in the 1% category, not the 99%
True.
category.
True.
What is it that they have done different? So when you come to Bhavesh Agrawal of Ola, when you come to Oyo Rooms, Mr. Agrawal, I think is Sapna.
Ritesh Agrawal.
Ritesh Agrawal, or when it comes to any of your retail platforms like Amazon, or even the Indian. So or you talk of education system where Byju's is doing so much of work. They are one of the biggest start. So look at the areas in which these people, how they have addressed the situation outside. What is it that they have done different? See, even in businesses, we are talking startups so much about what fails and what doesn't fail, but I think even businesses fail like in the same percentage, right? So look at positive aspects, what they've done, and try to learn in one way or the other as to what they've done differently to survive the whole thing. Startup is somebody else's money. I mean, I see it startup in a very different. If I am paying 10 rupees less on Amazon, I think somebody sitting in US is paying for that, because the investors pay on the startup, not the entrepreneur himself herself. Okay, so look at those areas. And so this is experimentation which will keep happening. And I think if it's 99% failure, try to look at what 1% of the people are doing. That's what I can say.
Yeah, I believe so. And I think failure happens all across, not only in startups. People fail everywhere. And how do you define success, and what do you actually want to become? And you fail and then you become successful, and you fail and you become successful. So I think that journey path should be very clear with the people. Now we are at 11:55 almost, and there are questions already pouring in, sir. And I don't think we can stop students from pouring in the questions, but I'm taking one closing question, which is a very, very relevant question, and which you have actually not told, just like many people tell, and wherein our students are very keen to know, because they want to be addressing a gathering like you, maybe 25 years from now, or maybe even earlier, because I think the careers are now getting shorter. And this boy is Kamal Tyagi. Kamal Tyagi is asking, he read one book, One Thing by Gary Keller, and one should focus on one thing. But the question basically is, I want to know that what is that one thing in your planning which led you to success towards your main goal. So I think, yeah, if you could kindly share how you reached where you are.
First of all, I'll tell you that don't think I've reached somewhere where it's going to be very difficult to reach. I think one of the, and I'll go slightly philosophical. I'll not tell you that you should be good in your marks and you should be good in that. I think your continuous learning approach is what keeps you where you want to go. And most of the people, once they come out of colleges or institutions, and they feel that they have done enough of studies, now they are ready for the external environment, and then 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, 30 years, and then suddenly they realize that they have become illiterate because everything has changed in the last 20 years. So I would say that continuous learning is one approach which will help you to reach where you want to reach. And in my journey, if you see some things I've put in my profile as well, I've always been going back to the institutions every 3 to 5 years to do something. So as recent as in the month of March this year, I've gone back to Wharton School of Business to do a development program. Before that, I've been going to some other institutions to do. So I think if you have not done learning in the last 3 to 5 years, at any given point of time, you're already an illiterate in the marketplace. So what is important for you is a continuous learning approach, and coupled with that, humbleness to learn. Many of us feel that we know everything. We know the things best, but always look at a very humble approach, and don't hesitate. I never hesitate to go to some of my employees and say that I don't know about it. I'm the managing director of the company, but I cannot. So I may hesitate saying that, no, I don't know about this business. I don't know how this manufacturing works. So never say no to learning. Don't hesitate to remain humble, and don't hesitate to anybody from whom you can learn. Don't hesitate to go to that person. So these are some of the things which will keep you flying good in your career and what you want to. And I can always I can also tell you from my personal experience, I don't read books. I learn from my own personal experience. So I meet people, I do networking, I learn from them, I learn from industry people, I learn from academics, I learn from everywhere. I mean, I learn from my children, I learn from my parents, everyone. So keep learning at the core of your preparedness for future. That's what I can say, Sabra.
Yeah, and along with that, Lokesh sir, just to add, I don't think, and which is very, very important for the students to realize, that it's not just the work which will make you successful. How you complete your life, fulfill your life. Like I know Mr. Saxena, I saw him on a bicycle in 1994. I still see his posts on bicycle. I mean, he's a quite a cycling enthusiast. He used to sing then. We still see his music here and there on Facebook, on Star One application. So I think, basic crux of life, if you could understand and balance your life, then only you can be on a path of continuous learning. Because we have seen people getting exhausted by not having a balanced life. I personally feel that because every successful person we come across, we see that they are focused on their goal, but along with that, their life is much, much larger than what we see as outsiders. And that I think has to be a, because I personally feel that a balance that you have managed in your life could also be one of the reasons, why you are stable where you are happy, whatever you are doing. And that also contributes to success. So, Kapil, and over to you. Yes, I think we are done with the questions. So, we are 11:58, and you can, wind up the session as well. Yeah.
Sure, ma'am. Thank you so much, sir.
To take all the questions, but I'm available on LinkedIn if any one of you. I saw some of the people who joined me on the LinkedIn yesterday from the faculty.
Okay. Yeah.
If you have a question, you can write to me there, and I'm not a social media expert, but I can always, answer you back in some way or the other.
Okay, thank you so much, sir. Thank you for this wonderful, crisp and realistic presentation. I know that you haven't used any data analytic tools to make those stats, but they are somehow true and realistic. Whether you talked about the hybrid model, the work from home and the office model, whether you talk about the hygiene, whether you talk about the speed of localization, the reduction business travels, and the best part that I know that you have segmented all these sectors into the traffic signals. That is the best part of your presentation, according to me. And you are absolutely right that the upcoming future is definitely going to be online and digital. You need to learn the digital skills, communication skills, and global operating skills as well. So yeah, that's how somehow the sum up the journey that we are going to witness in the coming future. So yeah, thank you so much for this. Over to you, Mansi.
As we are proceeding towards the end of the session, I'm pretty sure that the learnings from the session are going to intact with us for a very long, so that we can implement them to tackle the upcoming challenges that the world is going to throw at us. Now, for providing smooth ending to this session, it's my honor to welcome the very vibrant, ever wonderful chairperson of BBA department, Dr. Geeti Sharma. She is a dynamic, result-oriented professional with more than 18 years of experience, who is certainly known for her innovative teaching methods to nurture young minds like us. Her guidance and immense support help us to achieve excellence in all fields. I would like to request ma'am to kindly take over the screen and propose a formal vote of thanks. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, dear Mansi. It's already 12, and good noon, everyone. I, Dr. Geeti Sharma, head of the department BBA program, would like to pay my gratitude to everyone present in the session today. I'm extremely grateful to Mr. Lokesh Saxena ji, Managing Director, Disa India Limited, for joining us today and sharing insights on a very apt topic, that's in external environment and preparedness for future. So I'm sure, sir, the students have gained a lot and are going to understand the significance of some very important keywords you mentioned out there. That is digital skills, agile thinking, interpersonal skills, and definitely all this is very important, and the students should have a proactive approach while they're working on the skills, and they should become industry ready. So I'm also grateful to the management of IMS Group of Institutions, GMA, Ghaziabad Management Institutions, and Director ma'am for always supporting us in all our endeavors. Thank you so much, ma'am, for supporting us and motivating us throughout. I appreciate the efforts of all the faculty members, and especially Professor Yagbala for coordinating the event so well. And both our student anchors, Kapil and Mansi, they also did a splendid job. So congratulations to both of you. And above all, we have today so many vibrant students out there. So I see a lot of entrepreneurs there. I see a lot of managers there. I see a lot of technocrats there. So all of you made the session really very interesting with your queries and with your presence as well. And thank you so much, everyone, once again. And I just hope that when we meet Lokesh ji next time, we meet him in campus. And we would also like to hear a song definitely from you, sir, apart from your industry ideas. So that just came to from Sapna ma'am that behind this you are also a great singer and you also have some very other interesting hobbies. So that's quite interesting to know. And I'm sure a lot of students are already following you on LinkedIn and many more are going to do so today itself. So students, if we have not been able to take up your queries today, so don't be disheartened. You can always send your queries to Lokesh ji on his LinkedIn profile, and I'm sure he'll be happy and more than happy to address all your queries. And on that note, I would like to thank once again everyone in this session, and also Devesh, our IT professional who was handling everything from the back end. And now I would like to request the host to present e-memento to Lokesh ji. So this is a small e-memento in the virtual world as a token of gratitude from all of us at IMS Ghaziabad University Courses Campus. So thank you so much, sir, for joining today. And it was really, really a very insightful session. Thank you so much. Over to you, Kapil.
I just humbly accept what you said. I would like to come to IMS as well. And I don't know whether the song or not, but I'd like to interact with the students for sure. And thank you for the honor. I mean, in today's world. So I humbly accept this. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you everyone for joining. Thank you Lokesh sir, Sapna ma'am, Geeti ma'am, all the faculty members and students. Stay safe, stay healthy, get vaccinated.